Morning, everyone. I'm just going to spend a few minutes. I'm going to give you sort of a bit of an understanding of what our business is all about. So I have a nice little video to show you that'll help. It'll explain it better than I ever could. And then I'm just going to talk through like the journey that we've been on and sort of show you the learnings that we've had, some of like what's worked for us, what hasn't, and some of the mistakes that we probably made along the journey as well. So basically, this is what our business is all about. We have sort of two main divisions, soon to be sort of come three, as we're looking to IPO towards the end of this year. So on the retail side, which is where I work, we basically supply the full retail market for the Irish pharmacy market. So basically, you've got nearly just under 2,000 pharmacies. We supply them with 2 deliveries per day and 1 on a Saturday. So there's 11 deliveries going to nearly every single pharmacy in the country on a weekly basis. So it's quite an extensive sort of supply chain piece that we do for them. We have 2 chains of pharmacies, Life and All Care, which comprises about 75 pharmacies in Life, and All Care pharmacies about 103 pharmacies now. We just had a recent acquisition of Bradley's Pharmacy that's in that pool now as well. So that represents about 8.5% of the Irish market just in 2 chains of pharmacies that we run and manage end to end. So then our strategy beyond this then is to sort of grow those pharmacy brands. We're obviously looking to move into B2C. We're building 2 instances of Magento Ecommerce, which will launch in July and September this year, and that's for Life and All Care pharmacy. So we've sort of done the reverse. We're quite sort of well advanced on the road on B2B, and now we're moving into the B2C piece. Marketplace is a sort of a key sort of strategy for us moving forward, and it's really around this whole endless aisle concept. So I'm sure you can all picture a pharmacy in your mind's eye. They're not the biggest of retail outlets, so they can and they're very heavily focused on their dispensary and behind the counter. So we sort of have a really sort of strong strategy around how we can provide that endless aisle to them. So we'll plug suppliers in. We can have, for an example that we always tend to use is, you could come in and buy a wheelchair for your auntie. You could just come in and we'll pick, pack, ship that product to you within 2 days. It may never hit our warehouse, but it's a seamless, for you as a consumer, it's a sort of seamless transaction. And again, we're sort of openly talking with suppliers around that at the moment. We have a number of our own consumer brands as well. So we have a first aid brand called Fix It. We have a accessories brand called Kid and Caboodle, and we're just about to launch a vitamins brand called Aya. So it's about 23 different supplements, and that'll be in direct competition to some of what we're currently selling today, the likes of Sona, different brands out there. So really exciting times on the retail side. On the manufacturer side, we're very much, this is sort of the linchpin of why we're IPOing the company as well. So there's quite a big market on the manufacturer side, and the guys are working hard now to sort of like unlicensed medications, outsourcing, resourcing. So literally that's Ireland, the UK and the Benelux countries now we're doing that. Patient access and outcomes will be an international business. Life cycle management, clinical, commercial. We've probably acquired about 8 companies in the last 2 years, spent about 150 million, and it's all on the manufacturer side to drive that business. So a lot going on, but I suppose I'm going to talk to you predominantly about the retail side of the business today. So
the local chemist has always been an important part of every village, town and city throughout Ireland. Dating back to the 1960s, we were founded by local community pharmacists looking to work more closely with their suppliers. Retail services is continuing to evolve based on the changing marketplace. We're investing heavily in technology and innovative solutions to match the needs of our customers. We're a co-op, so we're owned by a lot of the same customers we serve every day. And our job is to help those customers to serve their customers and to play our small part in delivering better health outcomes and solutions. Staying connected to their needs, well, it goes without saying, it's our top priority and focus every day. Today, Uniphar Group operates in Ireland, UK and wider European markets. We wholesale and distribute prescription medication, over-the-counter drugs and pharmacy shop products to over 1,800 pharmacies, hospitals and vets from our 5 distribution hubs.
Pharmacy used to be a high volume, high margin business. I suppose back in the early 2000s it became a high volume, low margin business. We started working to find a solution that was going to give us scalability, that was going to give us reliability, but that effectively was going to give us a customer experience that didn't feel like they were being shortchanged, but felt like Uniphar was still the place to go.
We needed a new, more integrated experience for our customers. We didn't just want ordering, we wanted intelligent commerce. We wanted real self-service. That's when we turned to Magento and Monsoon Consulting.
So what we have now is really powerful B2B e-commerce. We now have the ability to target our customers, segment what we present to them, and personalise the experience. We can now provide our customers with specific customer catalogues, live pricing, rebates, notifications to target them with offers. From a growth perspective, it's really impressive. We're now processing an average 4,500 orders per day. Sales on the platform have now doubled in 2 years. We're also seeing 80% growth in 2018 on consumer sales. We've always known we've had world-class sourcing, products, distribution, and logistics. Now we have an e-commerce platform to match. What we're most proud of is together that we've built something that we can rely on, that our customers can rely on, and in our world, that can make all the difference. Okay. Oh, that's okay. So yeah, look, I'll just spend about 10 or 15 minutes now just sort of really delving into, so like, that all looks great and sounds well or whatever, but like, really what was that about? So right from the sort of genesis of this, like what did we do and what did we focus on and what did we learn? So if you think about it, so what we did, we looked at it in terms of, we 3 order channels, we have different customers. So we have, I talk about retail customers as in retail pharmacy, but we also have over 150 hospital and clinic customers. We have vet customers, so you have very, very diverse sort of requirements in terms of those customers as well. And then we also need to provide them with bespoke pricing. Like there's a lot of different prices for different customers, so it's very complex. Unique products, there's listings and exclusions at play. Some, for example, methadone. Not every pharmacy in the country can even dispense methadone, so we have to sort of block those products from customers not being able to, when they're not licensed to purchase them. And self-service is obviously a key for us. So I think somebody asked about, do you focus on self-service or do you focus on growth? We're a very, very traditionally, we're a very low margin business. So it really made sense for us to focus on, launch the platform, stabilizers, and focus on cost to serve the customer. It was a key, that was our sort of first key piece. Now, it's not that you're not focusing on growth either, but definitely it's, I think when we looked at it initially, even in the first year, if we hadn't got e-commerce, you'd be talking about 30 people taking orders over the phone. That's what it would have been. So it's a significant sort of piece of money. And then if we tied that back as essentially we're a 1% margin business on the legacy retail business. So how much sales do you have to generate that 300k or the savings? So it's things like that. So that depends on your business. If you're a higher margin business, you'll probably find yourself focusing more on the revenue side as well. So they're the sort of things that we decided we'd look at, really. The PIMS channel, just so you know, that's basically, yeah, so PIMS is basically, it's our dispensary system. So essentially every pharmacy will have their dispensary system, and as they dispense medications out, it just goes onto a very basic wants list. There's no pricing even displayed, it's just literally, that's what you've dispensed today, do you want to reorder it? They have an option on their dispensary system to just hit a button, that comes straight into Uniphar, and then we pick, pack, ship that requirement to those. So we e-commerce doesn't compete in any way with PIM. PIM does what it does a lot of heavy lifting, and it does it very, very well. I suppose telesales, like it's 2019, is it really the best use of a customer's time? Even like what we've learned from customers is the number one thing that came back was that they're time poor. So if they're time poor, ringing up on a phone, and we've some really good insights into that, and that's where we've seen like a massive drop off now in terms of like I think at one point we like over 30% of our consumer orders were coming through our telesales department. It's now down to about 4%. So it takes a little bit of time, but it does work.
Same on the B2B side?
This is all B2B. Yeah. I'll come back next year and talk about B2C when we've. So we definitely took. So our idea was like crawl, walk, run, and I know it can sound very simple, but you know, in hindsight, it's the best way to do it. If you think you're going to do everything at once, you know, brace yourself. You know, even from when we launched initially, like you really need to be thinking like your first 6 months is about stabilizing your platform, and then what's your key focus. And for us, it was obviously the cost to serve our customer. Then basically, what I spent a lot of time then in Q4 was like delving into the analytics on the site, and really like, you know, when you say know thy customer, like we spent a lot of time. Like I went to 10 hospitals. I went to about 50 retail customers and had specific discussions around every single interaction and what we do online, and got their understanding, document those insights, and that's what sort of fed what we iterated on the platform. And we made about 8 or 10 vet customers as well. So we got a really good understanding of what we did, and then that sort of gave us our blueprint in terms of like how to sort of evolve the platform. So our initial platform, when we launched, we had a sort of static stock position. It was 24 hours, which caused us a lot of problems with customers, literally from the get-go. It was one view for all customers, so when you logged in, if we were promoting fragrances or anything like that, if you were a vet customer or a hospital customer, you were seeing all that. So very, like in hindsight, you go, God, how would you do that? But you know, we took the view, we got to get a product out there, and we'll get the learnings and the insights and develop it from there. So definitely not the way to go, but that's what we did. Customer-specific pricing is run from extracts, and I'll go through that in terms of ERP integration a little bit as well. Large generic catalogs, search, fairly standard search, generic emails to all customers, and then generic cross-sells and upsells to customers. And really at the time, I suppose like my role was more sort of managing the platform, interacting with our marketing team. And I think somebody, Mark said earlier, you know, sometimes you got to look like a marketing team to do digital marketing, which to me essentially is sales. Digital marketing is sales. It's probably not the best marriage of skill sets. So you've got like a lot of content heavy emailing, you know, it's all about brand and things like that, but it doesn't convert. And our customers again are time poor, so lots of learnings on that side. So really, I suppose like our personalization journey then started. So we had to fix stock. So straight away now, if you log on today, and we did this literally within about 3 months of launching the site, it's live stock. If we sell our last product, it goes red, the product grays out. You can see the product, you can see the pricing. If we have a date for when it's back, you will see that date as well. So it's a really nice experience. That was rebates. We didn't show customer our rebates, we just showed them some of their pricing. So now we showed them their live, we showed them a full sort of piece of their pricing as well. And that's all integrated through our ERP system. So we're actually only now, if you will, so we recognized, again, if you think about, you do need to spend time around integration. Like what we found, even after about 6 months of launching using sort of extracts for pricing, what we found is this file was going to become, it's just becoming a beast, and it's not manageable over time. And we've probably kicked the can down the road a little bit, but now we're going to move to dynamic live pricing, which is actually commercially is going to be a game changer for us, because we're going to be moving to doing pulse offers for customers, like for 3-hour windows to get them, and that's going to be a real key for that. But literally, if we change the price, 5 minutes later, we'll display for the customer. And on air, we have an unlicensed medicines business. So basically, when products go out of licensing, they go into unlicensed. It's sort of a higher margin business for us, and you do a lot of trading. So with competitors in the marketplace, there's a lot of pricing fluctuating and changing on a daily basis. So again, that's another requirement of why we've been moving to that. Elasticsearch, so we had a very standard search. Elasticsearch is what we implemented. There's other broad products out there. Tig has been educating me on this in the last few weeks, and some even better products. But like what that enabled us to do is sort of preview products, rank products, elevate products that we make more margin on to the customer. We have a lot of preferred generics, so we go out and we talk to generic houses for drugs. We do a deal with those, so we get the best price in the marketplace for them. So now if a customer comes in to order a version of that product, we dynamically display what the better offer is in terms of pricing. And we've seen massive results like in terms of like our conversion on that. Related products again as well. So now we dynamically display, we can literally, if a customer goes to order, say, a vitamin, Sona vitamin, we can now show the A version or the preferred version we have of that product literally in their path to purchase. So you're not even waiting until they go through the checkout. Literally, as they're making their purchase decision, you're showing them the price of the better, like a better price of the product. And again, for us, that's a mix of better price to the consumer and more margin for ourselves. Self-service dashboards, again, like we it's little things like, you know, there's no silver bullets to any of this, like, but little simple things like we just sort of exposed on the dashboard a few sort of key pieces like create returns, a lot of self-service features. But we just, and it was always there, it's native in Magento was reorder online orders, but we just exposed that then in a dashboard nicely, and we seen a 20% increase in order volumes. Like we never anticipated like that it would be that. So it's, but again, like it was, everything we've done here was driven by going and having conversations with customers, listening to what they wanted, not what we thought, because you know, we used a lot of our analytics to understand what their behavior was on the website. So we knew straight away, like even like simple free tools like Hotjar, you can just sit there, you know exactly how your customer is interacting with your homepage or any page on your website. So you can learn. So we knew straight away like 65% was search conversion. So that's why we do Elasticsearch. We knew there wasn't a great open rate in email, so we put in notifications. So all of these things, and it was the whole, we didn't even just segment it so for pharmacy, hospital and retail. Like we can now show dynamic content for life and for all care for any customer group that we have. It's all tailored, personalized content for those, and that's what drives the change. So, like we've landing pages, the segmented displays, bespoke catalogs. Like we've 50,000 products. You know, it's very difficult. Like I'd say we've 3,000 products in our consumer catalog. I would probably only ever even try to show them about 1,000 of those. And then we even break that down into sort of top seller catalogs and things like that. And then you see the conversion, it grows. This is just an example of one of our home pages. So you can see now like we have sort of similar to like Facebook sort of notification style. We can now inject notifications in and we could target that down to one customer, a customer group, or to all customers. So this whole sort of all things to all people is, we don't do it anymore. And we've seen now, like we're probably growing, even on our OTC brands and our vitamins, with some of those features, we're growing at about 50%. And I suppose this is what success looks like for us. So we've had, in 2 years, we've had 136% sales growth. And that's pretty much like a little bit more last year, 2018, than 2017, because a lot of these features were in 2018 as well. Our customer engagement has doubled. The cost to serve our customers is coming down. I can't really share what that is, but it's significant to us. And we're growing. So one of my key sort of remits is our consumer business. So it's sort of a really exciting space for us to be in. And we grew that by 90% last year. For Q1 this year, we're actually growing in excess of 50% again on prior year. So really, really strong growth in our consumer business. And I'll just leave you with this as a thought. So I know it can be a bit of a catchphrase, like know thy customer, but you have to spend time with your, for B2B. Like you need to spend time. The more time you spend with customers and really understand and document that, and I guarantee you, if you use that to decide what you do for your customers online, you won't go too far wrong. And you have to sort of take that medium to long term view. Like it's not going to happen overnight. Like even we made mistakes like by going with extracts versus live sort of web service calls and API integrations. You know, we took a safer option. You take the medicine and then you move on. I think it's critical. Like we work with Monsoon. We're working with Monsoon now for our business and consumer platform as well. You really need a good development partner. You know, it's like for me, it's great. I can just jump in the car and I'm there in half an hour. But it's really important. You need to be very close to your development partner. I'm actually going over to the Monsoon today. Like we're releasing a corporate website for our IPO, and it's going to sit above our application. So if you just sit there for 2 or 3 hours and just finalise everything, it's the best way to work. And don't be afraid to try things and make mistakes. Like we've tried lots of things that haven't worked. I'm showing you the things that have worked. You know, but again, it's not spending. Like we haven't spent a whole lot of money, like doing what we did, and you will be amazed the simple little things like that you can do by just understanding that customer and making those little changes, like the big effect that can have, and becoming customer and data driven. Like we're by no means there, like, but we're really like I'm sort of obsessed with data now. It's like that's it. It's all about data. If it doesn't come across in that, like I don't look at it. So these are some of the things. Like we're in an exciting time. We're obviously doing B2C now. That's sort of for release in Q3. We'll be migrating our B2B platform to Magento 2 in 2020. We're looking at lots of things there. Like one of the big things that we're looking for our new B2B application is we're going to try and integrate it with our EPOS and dispensary system. So we'll actually start dynamically on a daily basis based on so we'll know what the customer has sold. So we'll know if Life Pharmacy has sold, this is what they sold in consumer today. And then we'll say, here's a suggested replenishment order. So not only now are we saying like, here's serving them up with emails, notifications, promotions, we're actually going to start serving them up with recommended replenishment orders. And I see that as a sort of huge game changer for us again. Like that could actually double our consumer business overnight.
Oh, sorry, is that in your wholly owned pharmacies, is it?
We're going to do it for all. So we'll be able to push to some of so for our wholly owned all care stores, we'll be able to push, it'll be a push replenishment.
Yeah.
But for the wider audience, and where we're seeing a lot of growth is actually with our ICP or independent community pharmacies. So we can't obviously, we can't dictate to them to what to order, but we can put it there with so that this is your recommended replenishment, and then they just need to hit a button, or they'll have that ability to edit and change it.
And in those pharmacies, are you typically their sole supplier of pharmaceutical products, or?
No, look, what you'll find is, so we've it's about half and half. So we're the primary for about half of the pharmacies. So for the likes of your drugs and dispensary, yeah, you'll find they'll stick with us because we're giving them their margin and their deal. But for consumer, they shop. They'll come to us. They'll come to United Drug, and they'll go to 4 or 5 other suppliers in the marketplace. So there's no loyalty really there. We're trying to build that loyalty in. But like logically, even if you think, when I say to you, like we release like we order online orders, so we know it works. Like we know what our customer says to us is that they're time poor. They need to free up time on the shop floor. So if we start to put that sort of replenishment piece in, we've a strong sort of understanding like that it will work, you know, because it's been driven by what the customers are saying to us, as opposed to what we think might work. Yeah.
You said going e-commerce B2B is a very different sort of business. So if you're having traditional sales reps, customer service, selling products, what team did you have to put in place and what sort of skills before to sort of implement the project? And you've got a title of, which is probably different than what you had before you went e-commerce.
Yeah, like I joined Uniphar. Like my background is supply chain and commercial roles. I actually had my own company. I was in the digital space about 5 or 6 years ago, and I was doing some consultancy, and I sort of wanted to get back into a sort of big company. I went in initially like just doing the digital side for Life and All Care and getting some content websites built out. It was always envisioned that I'd move on to sort of managing this as it became a fully fledged project signed off for a business case. And yeah, like we didn't. Like today, that B2B platform is me. It's now some properly trained digital marketing people that sit within the marketing department, and bit of IT support. But we heavily depend on our development partners. So we outsource a lot of the support to those. They'd be heavily involved with us with discovery, design. Like the former head of UX before Laura took over, he would have spent time with me in pharmacy, like coming to pharmacy, literally documenting all the insights. So we're very light. Like we try to be sort of agile, light, nimble. Obviously now we're building a bigger team because we're moving into B2C. But literally, it has been like a team of probably 2 people full time, like delivering what you're seeing there. But again, like that's because like of the automation and the integration. So we're heavily integrated with SAP. So any of our customers can go on there today. They can pull down their own invoices, their statements, their credits. They can create returns. There's a whole batch of self-service that they can do. So by automating a lot of that, now we still have a team. We still have a telesales team of about like 20, 25 people. And what I find is it's sort of the dynamic, the sort of cultural dynamic then is that you do. I think somebody alluded to. You get people that fear like e-commerce and they say like, oh God, it's taking over the jobs and that. But like I think we're looking at actually taking somebody from the telesales team now and putting them into the e-commerce team. So it evolves over time, but we were very like Uniphar, because again we're traditionally low margin business. We're trying to move into higher margin businesses, but so it's very lean, like what we do. So
On that EPOS landscape,
yeah,
is every pharmacy, are they all in the same EPOS?
it's a nightmare.
Yeah.
There's about 20 EPOS systems. There's 3 dispensary providers primarily. There's probably even another couple. But there's three dispensary providers, 20 EPOS. We're actually looking at the moment as a project. And they don't like to being told what to do. So we don't have that silver bullet. So we were actually having this discussion today. It's a really good question because what we were saying was like it's okay for say for Macaulay's or for ourselves with Allcare. We could say you're using this EPOS system, you're using this dispensary system, and that's fine. But how do we build a solution that's all encompassing and does everything for all customers? Now we're probably a little bit fortunate in the way the PIM system work. That's like an overriding piece of architecture and code. So irrespective of what dispensary system you're on, it has to come through the PIM system. So there's all the dispensary systems integrate with the PIM system, and that's like a universal sort of system in that it's the same. UD and Uniphar use that system. So what we're going to try and do is build our architecture off of that level. So we're sort of above all the dispensary systems. I'd say, look, we're agnostic, because we have to be. Either that or we try and buy one or two of them, and that's not going to happen. Yeah. I'm sticking around, so yeah.
Sorry, I was just going to say, around segmentation, you said that you had segmented your customer base to show different views. Around how many do you have? I mean, is it 10? Is it how unique?
Yeah, that's a journey as well. Like I'd like to be further on there, and it's down to resource. But as we get more resource now, we'll segment further. Currently, we segment into cohorts, so it'll vary. So, like for example, if I'm doing a campaign around Kit and Caboodle, which is our own accessories range, what I'll do is I'll run who currently buys Kit and Caboodle from us, and then we'll create a segment for that. So that could be a mixture of independents, Life, Allcare, Macaulay's, Mackay. That could be just a whole cross section of customers that have bought into that brand. And so how we talk to that customer about that offer and what it is completely different about how we would talk to a customer who as of yet has not bought into that brand. So that straight away would be 2 potential cohorts for that campaign. We dynamically, like we've set up, so when Life customers log in, they see something completely different to what Allcare customers see, and it's all personalised and tailored for them. Then we have a buying group called Link Up, so we dynamically display their homepage differently as well, Link Up Gold, and we're looking to build that out now for all of our customer groups. But as it's really based on sort of like joint business plans that we'll put in place with those groups. So as we get sort of firm joint commitments from those guys, we'll start to build out the e-commerce offering tailored to them as well. So it's evolving, like, so what it could be, the principle is account-based marketing. Like that's where we're trying to get to. You can read some really nice documents about that stuff, but like, again, you gotta figure out like what's.
A manual process where you're actually looking at the customer and then assigning a group to them.
Yeah.
It's not actually just seeing their behaviour.
No, we don't have any. Like we don't have end-to-end marketing even built into this solution. So we will when we move to Magento 2. So like there's a lot of things that we need to, we're doing on the fly still. But it doesn't stop you. That's the thing. It's not hard to try.
Well, can I just ask, Mark made the point about organisational structure being a challenge when you're embracing e-commerce.
Yeah.
When Uniphar decided to go embrace e-commerce and go full tilt. Did the organisation really embrace it, or did it have to get out of its own way in order to allow it to happen?
No, they didn't at all. It was, no, in fairness, that's probably a little bit disingenuous. They knew, they were bought into the realization that they had to do it.
Yeah.
But in terms of like my boss, like I report into the CEO of the retail services now. So Dermot at the time was, yeah, like it's, look, we're focused on it. But in fairness, he had 10 other sort of priorities at the time. So the project was done. We really focused on, and that was one of the reasons why we focused on self-service and that, because the appetite there, even commercially, hadn't really bedded in. Then I went across to the commercial side, and now it's like, but it's you need quick wins. Like that's what I'd say about, like even some of the stats that I had up there, like $4,500 a day. That's actually gone. That's $5,600 a day now. That's gone. So once you get, it's sort of like you need a couple of quick wins. You need to do your analysis. You need to present that back to the business to get the buy-in. So it sort of started quite low, but now like my boss like is completely like bought into it, and he's really like he's saying like, right, what are we doing? Like we're actually looking at some exciting areas around direct models for B2C and stuff like so. Now, yeah, it's completely like, but I suppose when you get results like what we've got, it becomes a lot easier. Yeah. Everything sort of started to fall into place, but it's hard at the start, and that's why I would say to you, you need to get, if you can get that buy-in, and you need some level of buy-in, like somebody has to write the check to get going, and then once you've got that, I would say you really, by understanding your customers, focus on one or two things that you can do well, that's going to give you some wins to build the credibility, and it's not, but it's by no means is it 100% correct now. Like it takes time, it's not even now, like it's going to take more time for us to really get the rest of the commercial and marketing teams on board as well. Yeah.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome.
One more question. For consumers and for the B2B side of the business, are they mostly the same products or are they different products?
In what respect?
Except for, say, the medicines, are products exactly the same to your consumers and to B2B?
Yeah. So all the consumer products we can sell are available to all of our B2B customers. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
not all B2B products are available to you?
No, depending on their licensing for different medications. So we have a lot of listings and exclusions tables at play there. Yeah.
Coming back to that, related products as well, again, is that something that you go in and say that product is related to these 5 products, or is it something the system does, or is it something you get from your suppliers? Like how do you define the related, because you said that's something that you're putting in from.
It's a combination, yeah. Like obviously we get information from suppliers, we'll do sales analysis, we'll rank, we'll put top sellers. So it's a combination of different things that and our margin opportunity, like obviously. Yeah.
You mentioned that your resources are quite light,
Mm.
there's only 2 or 3 people or whatever, but you've 50,000 products, I think you mentioned. What was, was that a huge challenge to actually get those, the imaging, the description?
Yeah, and remain so, but we're quite good now in consumer. We were really poor. We're sort of getting there with our OTC, because we're now starting to really get into the sort of OTC piece for online as well. So again, you've just got to bite it off in chunks. But yeah, it's a constant.
What do you mean by OTC?
Over the counter. So you have your front. Sorry, apologies. So yeah, you'll have your front of shop, and then you have your over the counter medication. So, and that's where a lot of our vitamins and things are in now. So like yeah, we've huge plans for that to sort of continuously develop it and how we represent brands online. Yeah.
Descriptions for 50,000 products.
No, we would have, and for a lot of the medicinal products, it's not needed. And even the way we display it, we don't display it with images. We'll just display it as a line. Because again, like we know the pharmacy, they're just in. They want to. They're not interested in the picture of that product. So yes, for all of our consumer products, for a lot of our OTC, and we've another business as well, we're an ostomy business where we would show products.
During the project phase, did somebody just sit down and enter that, key it in, or was it?
No, it'd be all like extracts and automated uploads. Yeah.
So you relied on your suppliers to provide you with
Yeah, yeah. We've a full-time, we've full-time sort of creative now in-house as well. So that really helps. That sort of helped bring it on a lot now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Have your competitors reacted?
Surprisingly, no. And we sort of had a look at what our competitors did like quite recently, and they had a number of disparate websites, and they've just brought them all together under single sign-on. So there's still, different UX experience. So it's still not great, but we expect them to react. So like UD have been bought by McKesson, it's a big international American company. So we sort of know what their e-commerce capabilities are in other markets. So we'd fully expect them to react in time.
And does your marketplace, it'll be just your products? Are you looking at competitor products or anything on that? Or?
Not so much, no. Like we have a marketplace currently where it's for our POI products, again, like a lot of drugs, and that is all about competition. But the marketplace that we're looking for Endless Oil is more about like picking specific vendors and working with those to sort of create this Endless Oil experience for customers. Yeah.